else. If that meant that we were, like, if you're station partners with somebody, it's funny because especially he and I were so inexperienced at the time, you know, it's kind of like, all right, Monday and Tuesday are my days off. And you would talk to each other like, what are you worried about on the station? And you'd go like prep like all day, just working for free to make sure that they were going to be cool and that you were going to be cool. And he would do that for me. Or like, I mean, there'd be times where, like, if a sous chef didn't order, like, the pork belly you needed, you know, I'm not throwing them under the bus, but if they forgot and you weren't going to have your pork belly in time to, like, cure it and then slow cook it and things like that, it would literally be talking to each other, and it's like, all right, I'm going to go find pork belly and buy it and
tell no one.
I'll cure it at my house, and then I'll bring it to you, and you'll slow cook it. So you're, like, teamwork, but it's like the ultimate goal was to make it look like the two of you just had things on lockdown, and it didn't matter. There was no world where it was like, well, we would have it, but so-and-so forgot to do it. It was like, no,
it's all your fault. It's your station.
If we're here, it's going to get done.
I still did that at Cezanne. When they would call me, like sometimes my sous chef would call me and say, hey, the radishes didn't come in from the farm today. You stop at Whole Foods on your way in. I'm like, all right, cool, got it.
Exactly.
You know, it's like,
happens all the time.
You don't have to do it, but guess what? If you didn't do it, it was going to be some shit later.
100%.
Regardless of if it was your fault or not, because you weren't going to dare say, well, hey, I didn't order it. You know, like, you just do it.
Or throw anybody under the bus.
You just do what you do. You know? You got
exactly.
You know, it's you want to win. You know.
Got you.
That's it.
So how long did you both stay there at August?
Oh man, a while.
I was there 3.5 years. Mm-hmm. He was probably there like the same amount of time, or longer actually.
Got you.
When I left, I was there 3.5 years. When I left to go to Germany, I never came back.
Gotcha.
When he was there at a certain point in time, he came back and stayed for a little while. So I would assume it would be rough.
So this whole Germany thing is in the works, and you're like, I want to go there. You sell your car, do everything like that. You go first?
He goes first.
You go first. Okay, got you. And how was that for you?
Awesome. But I'll say this, like, that was when the whole BP oil spill happened.
Oh, really? Okay.
And there wasn't anything, obviously nothing fortunate about that. You know, you never want an oil spill. But I remember just getting a letter in the mail from BP or their law firm that was representing them. And they basically were like, if you sign this piece of paper saying that you'll never sue us, we'll give you $10,000. And I remember thinking at the time, well, there's no way I'm going to sue them anyway, so I might as well take my... Like, I didn't think I really had any personal damages.
Yeah.
I was employed the whole time, but this is not asking me to turn in or claim damages. This is just asking me to sign a contract that I will never sue them over the oil spill, and they'll give me $10,000. So I'm like, that's a no-brainer. So sign the little piece of paper. I can never sue BP over the oil spill, which is fine, because I would never do that, even though, of course, I wish it would have never happened, but other people, you know, are the ones that were affected more than me, just in wishing it wouldn't have happened, you know? And so basically I was able to pay off all my bills here for a year or a year and a half or whatever while I was in Europe, and just get to live off of whatever I made there, and my bills were just on hold over here.
Dope. And did you also get that letter?
I actually got a little bit more money than that. Everybody got a different amount depending on when you filed your thing. And like I think I got like
that's crazy
$20,000.
I had no idea. See, this is things that you find out because you live in the Northeast. When this shit's going on, you don't fucking know what's happening. You're like, oh shit, there's an oil spill. That's terrible. But then they're going behind everybody and like paying you off so you don't sue them.
Basically.
I think I had got like $12,000 or $10,000, and then they offered me the $10,000 to not sue, and I just took it. And I know somebody else that got like $30,000, like first payment, and he probably got another 10 on the not sue me payment. So it was like it just whatever it was luck of the draw. I guess it just is what it is. Like I remember when the first person that came in the building that day was just like, I got $30,000 today.
You think there's just people hoping for another BP spill so
they can I don't know.
Claim benefits? That's crazy.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like,
how did that affect the food here? Obviously, it did.
Yeah. You know,
or did they switch purveyors and get the shit from somewhere else?
Definitely affected the
local
fishermen,
the
people that are actually fishing. You know, like the heart and the soul of the community of it all.
But as a restaurant, you guys didn't really
you still were able to get what you needed to get, I guess, or just change the menu.
Okay. So how long did the Black Forest experience last?
So that was about a year and a half.
Okay. For both of you?
Yes.
Each, okay. But spread out over 3.5 years.
Okay.
And it was another thing about that location that was incredible is it was right on the border of France, Germany, and Switzerland.
Okay.
So we were literally 5 minutes from the French border, and we were like 30 minutes away from Basel, Switzerland.
What?
Yeah. So it was
so dope.
So it was so easy to travel. I can't remember the time, but I want to say it was like an hour and a half train ride to Paris. So it was I would go to Paris.
Like $40.
Yeah, I go to Paris so often because I also remember at a certain point you get like homesick.
Yeah.
And as magical as everything is around you, it's like you don't realize the toll that it takes on you where you don't get to make a joke that somebody's hearing in their first language. It's like, even though you communicate with people well, more so them speaking English because they spoke better English than we, spoke German or French. But like just the idea of like having jokes with people in your first language and things like that. But I loved everybody there. But for me, it was a big thing where I would just go get like the New York Times at the train station, get on the train, read the whole New York Times on my way to Paris, and then go do that. And it was like, not only was Paris awesome, but just reading the newspaper on the train, would kind of bring me back home a little bit. So I remember doing that all the time. It was magic.
Something that I remember doing I just remember being a young cook, and the hustle and the drive was so serious that I was given a menu, and they're like, here's the menu, it's in German.
Yeah.
And so when I worked Garde, they kind of babied you a little bit more and spoke more English to you and let you kind of like float a little bit. But when I got moved to the vegetable side and doing other stations, there was like no English speaking. And they're like, here's the menu, and it's like you go home and you translate the menu, like regularly, and not just the menu, but like
the recipe,
like the code words of like how to say like moving on this course or like next course is this, like all those words, like all those sentences and things, and not just like the literal like nouns and verbs, but like how service is like conducted, like you're nuances. Like translating this shit and like going home and like memorizing it because. Eventually, like you can't just get along with they're not going to baby you on the German side because basically like if you got moved to like protein or vegetable or sauce, you were expected to speak German. Like you weren't they're not babying you there because they're all speaking German.
They're not like, are you ready?
Yeah.
Just like,
so and it's like if you can't do it, then they just put you back on Garde or like in prep or something. And
got you.
So you were forced to like at that point get outside the comfort zone and I remember they're. I got to a point where I was speaking German the entire day, like aside from small talk.
Okay.
Yeah, I never got good at like the small talk, conversational German.
Yeah.
But I got to a point where I could make it through any service, through any banquet, through any kind of like special event system where I was speaking German at all times, and they didn't have to speak English to me.
Heard.
And I just remember that. Like there's just a certain point where you just kind of like, damn, I'm actually like doing this, but it's like you got to want to do that,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You got to want to do it because it's like this is contingent on me like continuing my journey. That's how I thought of it. It was like if I fail here, then I'm going to start going downhill. I'm not going to like fail here, go back home, and then rise. So you know what I mean? Like I'm like I have to do this, even though it's outside of my comfort zone and something I actually like want to do. Like I have to do this. It's almost like making it through like what's it called? Like when you go to like the army or basic training. It's like that. It's like you have to make it through that. Like no matter how much they're like beating you up, trying to break you down, you have to make it through that because if you don't, you're not going to keep going. And so for me it was just a constant challenge, and I always wanted to rise to a challenge. Like if you give me a challenge, I will inherently want to go so hard to rise to it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just how I am, you know. Or sometimes it's just if there is no challenge, then I just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of fall lazy. I need a challenge, you know.
Did you guys recognize at that time working together that you wanted to work together in the future, maybe have a restaurant, or was this not even in your mind?
Maybe at that time we never had talked about it because at that point in time I never even knew. I was only looking to the next thing. I couldn't even see that far, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did the next thing end up being for you?
So yeah, after Germany was coming back, and then like I said, I wanted to go work at Uchi because I had fell in love with sushi like years before, kind of.
Yeah.
And did some stages there, and when that didn't pan out, we ended up opening Mofo with Mike Aguillard together, and that was when we were kind of both thrusted into being. I mean, we got hired on as sous chefs, but we're basically like chefs de cuisines. Like, he was like, "Here's the menu," and then it's like, write recipes for this menu.
At this point, had you managed anyone?
No. Well, I mean, I was a sous chef at August, but I mean, that was with other sous chefs. And, I mean, I ran banquet. I mean, I ran a banquet program for about a year there, and that banquet program consisted of roughly, in the busy season, 2 to 3 banquets a day.
Yeah.
I did the Super Bowl for like 3,000 people.
Damn.
I did the Final Four when they came to New Orleans. I did a big, like, I think it was like a 500-person block party that they like blocked off the street by August. Like, I mean, I'd done a lot of stuff at that point in terms of managing, organizing, ordering, like being a month in advance on prep lists and things. Like, a lot of that. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot. Like, I remember doing the Final Four. It was so busy, and the restaurant was so busy that we had to like hire like 2 refrigerated trucks outside, 18-wheeler size, outside the restaurant. People were just in that truck prepping, like at all times, like plus the restaurant.
I love that.
I mean, it was like nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like here's like a stack of crazy shit. And figure it out, and we just always figured out a way to figure it out.
It always works out for some reason.
You just figure it out, like
even
or
the
at least,
hardest services that you're not ready for.
You just figure it out. I mean, or you try as hard as you possibly can, and if something goes wrong, it just went wrong. But there's never a sense of like I gave up.
Yeah,
like, there was never an I gave. I've never had a moment where I was just like, there's an I give up. Like it just kept going, like getting beat up, getting shot, whatever it is. It's like that was the mindset, and I think that the August mentality is what a lot of us will call it. It was always like that. It was just anything that anybody ever wanted, we're doing. It didn't matter. They own other restaurants all around the city. It's like if somebody sat down at August and they wanted a burger from Luke, somebody was running down to Luke to get a hamburger and bring it back. Like, I mean, it was just that.
The
like,
answer is
yes. Yeah, it's yes.
Yeah.
Like, and you get into that point and you just never say no. So there's never a fear of fail because I have to do this.
Yeah.
You know,
like this is the new directive.
That's it.
This is what we're doing.
That's it.
Love that.
That's it.
So you're both CDC at this restaurant, basically, right?
Basically, yeah.
And how long does that last? How long are you guys doing that for?
So we were there for what? Well, I was there a lot longer. So Blake was there with me.
I was there about a little bit less than 2.5 years.
And then from there they opened another restaurant. And I was the CDC of the new restaurant, and Blake was, at that point when I left, he became the CDC of Mofo. So we both were CDCs with that company, eventually. And Blake moved to Cezanne, or moved to San Francisco and worked at Cezanne.
Got you.
And then I was the opening CDC at a restaurant called Maypop, which was their new restaurant.
Got you.
And then after going through that experience of opening another restaurant, that was when Blake was done with what he was doing and coming back to the city.
Yeah.
And then that's how we kind of met up again to open St.Germain.
Heard that. So your time at Cezanne, you have this job as CDC and you just leave it to go be a cook at Cezanne.
That's it.
What happened?
So there was a point where Mike Aguillard wanted to open a restaurant in Baton Rouge and wanted me to be the chef there.
Yeah.
And that fell through. And I just had kind of hit a plateau of I wanted to go back to doing fine dining again, and kind of was missing like my Michelin star kind of quality meals and things like that. I was like, I want to do this again. And my friend Evan Ingram, who was a sous chef, was one of my sous chefs at August, had left and went to Quince for a little while, and then he was now AM sous chef at Cezanne. I reached out to him. He got me a stage. So I basically